Hello guys, welcome back to another exercise. So today in this exercise we will talk about iSCSI. So it is a storage standard which was used from decades and it is still being used in the server environment. So we have some steps that we have to follow. So first we will install the iSCSI target software from PowerShell, and then we have to configure the iSCSI storage, and when we configure the storage we will create a volume. So it will be an iSCSI volume, and then we have to create a virtual disk from this iSCSI volume. So this virtual disk is known as logical unit number and it can be assigned to any user later. Now we can start our exercise. So first I will explain you what is iSCSI and how does it work, and then we can start our configuration. So at first let's talk about the theoretical points of iSCSI. So iSCSI means Internet Small Computer System Interface. It is a very old standard which was used primarily for disk storage, and till today it continues to evolve and it is very common in server environments. So iSCSI makes storage accessible to host over a standard TCP/IP network on a small scale within a company. So the I in the iSCSI refers to the fact that standard network equipment such as standard Ethernet switches and cabling can be used along with IP. Here is what happens. So SCSI disk input output commands are generated by a host which are placed inside a IP packet. So this IP packet has the delivery details such as identity of the server or appliance serving up the disk space. Standard network hardware and software makes iSCSI possible. So we have to create a separate network segment or a VLAN to configure iSCSI. So if you have a look at this image, here you can see that we have iSCSI server which is known as target. So it is iSCSI target, and then we have the iSCSI disk which we will configure as new volume, and then this new volume can be divided into three sub volumes. So they are known as logical unit numbers. So we have logical unit number 1, 2 and 3. So these numbers can be assigned later to the iSCSI user. So the user is known as the initiator. So for example, here you can see that user 1 is associated with logical unit number 1. So we can assign them like that. So we have to continue everything same as it is in the picture. So we can start our exercise now. So if you want to start the configuration from the server manager, you have to click on add roles and features, and then we click next and role based or feature based installation, and here we have to expand files and storage services, and then we expand file and iSCSI services, and there you will find the iSCSI target server. So we will select the iSCSI target server, and if we click next, the installation will start. So here you can see that we have a update available. So when we click on next, it will be installed, but we are going to install it from the Windows PowerShell. So if you want to continue from server manager, it will be okay, but I want to show you how you can configure it from Windows PowerShell as well. So we go to Windows PowerShell and we have to issue some commands. So the first command is to install the iSCSI target server. So install dash Windows feature fs dash iSCSI target dash server. When you click enter, it will start the installation automatically. So here you can see that we have collecting data and the installation is in progress. So after it is installed, you will see that the installation was successful and no restart is required. So here you can see that success is true and iSCSI target server is installed. So if you want to check if it is installed or not, you can use the get dash Windows feature command. So get dash Windows feature star iSCSI star. So star means that you are including the iSCSI name in the left and right part. So here you can see that one of them is installed, which is iSCSI target server, and the other one is available that we can install. So now we have to go to our server manager and we click on files and storage services. So now first we will select a disk that we will be using for iSCSI. So if I go to files and storage services, here you will notice that in the disk section I have 4 partitions, so I'm going to use one from it, but I will not use all of the capacity of it. So you can select how much you want for iSCSI. So for example, if I have 35 gigabytes, I can use 20. So we click on new volume and it will open the new volume wizard. So now we click on next and then we select the disk that we want to use and we press OK. So the selected disk will be brought online and initialized as GPT. So GPT is the standard partition format. So it means GUID partition table. And now I am using 20 gigabytes and we will not assign a drive letter for now. So we will assign it later and we can click on next. File system we can leave as it is, but I am going to change the volume label. So I will put iSCSI in it. So here we put iSCSI virtual disk and we click on next and then we can create it. So now we have a virtual disk created for iSCSI. So now we have to create another virtual disk which will be the logical unit number inside it. So if I click on that partition now, I will see the 20 gigabytes volume that I have created from it. So we can change the drive letter now. So manage drive letter and access, and we can assign it a drive letter which can be E. So these are the steps which are asked in the study guide to be done. So now we have the drive letter I on it, and if we go to iSCSI, here we can create a new volume now. So we click on new iSCSI virtual disk, and then we have to select the target where it will be created. So we have the 20 gigabytes partition, so we select it, and then we have to assign where we are going to create this disk. So we click on browse, and now we have to select the iSCSI virtual disk and select folder. So it will be created in iDrive. So we click on next, and then we have to give it a name. So iSCSI logical unit number 1, and we click on next. And here we have to give it a size. So from the 20 gigabytes, I'm using 10 gigabytes only. So let's continue. And then it should be selected as new iSCSI target. And now we have to give it a name. So the name for the target. So it is for local server. So I'm putting local servers here. And in the next step, we have to add that local server to which we want to assign this logical unit number. So here we click on enter a value for the selected type, and we click on IP address. And here we have to give the IP address for the initiator, which is our user. So we have to go to our Ubuntu machine because we are assigning it to the Ubuntu machine. So I go to the terminal, and we have to check the IP address here. So if config, and we will have our IP address which is 192.168.1.50, which is from our DHCP server. So we have to copy this one, and we have to write the same in the target server here. So we select the IP address, and we write the IP that we want to assign it to. So 192.168.1.50, and we click on OK. And there you will see that we have one IP address added. So we click on next. And iSCSI uses CHAP authentication, so you can enable that one as well. So we click on create, and now our logical unit number 1 is created, and we can click on close. So here you will notice that our virtual disk, which is logical unit number 1, is not connected to anything. So we have to assign it to an initiator now. So our initiator is our Ubuntu machine. So we have to issue some commands to assign it to the target. So we have to give the first command, which is sudo iSCSI admin mode discovery. So we are discovering the targets now. So send targets, and portal is on 192.168.1.200, but it was saying command not found, and the reason was that iSCSI was not installed. So first I had to change our DHCP server settings because it was not getting internet. So I changed it to network address translation, and I gave the command sudo apt install open-iSCSI to install iSCSI in our Ubuntu machine. So once it was installed, I could easily use the command. So let's see. So here you can see that it is installed. So now I can use the same command again. So the command is sudo iSCSI adm mode discovery, and you will notice that we have two targets here. So the first one is 192.168.1.200, and the other one is on our network address translation IP, which is 222.128. So we have to copy this name now, but I did a mistake here. I will show you what. So now we have to give our the second command, which is sudo iSCSI admin mode is node, and then target is 192.168.1.200. So our target server was on 192.168.1.200, but it was saying no record found. So the reason was that when we copy the fully qualified iSCSI name, which was iqn.1991.-05.com, we have to copy the name only, and I copied the IP address. So here if you see that we have to delete the IP address from here. So when you delete the IP address, it will give you a small sound, and it is assigned now. So now we are connected to our target server. So after we are connected, now we have to mount it to the Ubuntu machine. So here you will notice that ls block dash dash SCSI, and it will give us the virtual disk name, which was SDA. So now we have to work on this SDA disk. So we have to create the partition, we have to format it or resize, and then we have to make a file system for Ubuntu. So the first command will be sudo fdisk, which is to format the disk, and here we will create a new partition for it. So sudo fdisk slash developer or slash dev and then slash the disk name. And now we are in our fdisk utility. So it is to format, to create partition or to resize them. So here we have to first create a new volume. So to create a new volume we have to press N. So we press N and enter. And now we select everything as primary, so default is P. So we just need to press the enter button, and now we press enter again, and now it is asking for the sector and everything, so we just need to press enter, and now it is created. So to save it we have to press the W button and then enter, so it will write everything to the partition. So now it is created, you can see that it is created. Now we have to make a file system, so sudo mkfs, which is to make a file system, and then slash dev and slash sda, and we click on enter and found a DOS partition table in dev slash sda. So we click on enter and it is writing the superblocks and file system accounting information. It will take some seconds, and you can see that it is done now. So our partition is ready now, so we have to mount it now. So first we will create a directory which is sudo mkdir slash technocean. So I created a directory named technocean, and then we have to do mount. So sudo mount slash dev slash sda, and then we are mounting it to technocean. So sda is now mounted to technocean. And now if you do sudo mount slash dev sda slash technocean, you can see that it is already mounted. So now our ubuntu machine can use the iSCSI disk from the target server. So here you can see that if you click on mount, if you give the mount command, you will notice that it is telling us everything about the mount and everything. So now we can check if our disk is connected or not, because it was showing that it is not connected. So now we can go back to our target server, which is in our Windows server. So let's log in here. So now technically as we have mounted it, so now we should have the disk connected to our IP. So if I refresh here, you will notice that our disk is connected now. So let's wait, and you can see that it is connected. Yes, it is connected, and you will notice the IP address of the initiator as well, which is 192.168.1.50, and the size is 10 gigabytes. So that's how you can assign the iSCSI disk. I hope you have understood everything. If you have any doubts, you can ask me and I will reply as soon as possible. Thanks for watching.